join us tonight for our live Maroon Midnight prep. My name is Maroon Remillard. I am the Director of Undergraduate Student Recruitment and Marketing here at MSU. So we are happy to have you all join us. Just want to give you some overall pointers, as we know a lot of people have questions about what all is needed for Maroon at Midnight and maybe what Maroon at Midnight is actually. So Maroon at Midnight is where application for admission goes live. So July 31st, if you're staying up, as soon as it becomes midnight is when that application will become live. So if you're looking to start at Mississippi State in the class of 2022, we encourage you to go ahead and prepare to be up late that night and start the application process with us. I'm going to now introduce our Assistant Director of Student Recruitment, Lindsay Stallings, so she can give you a little bit of an overview of what she does, and then we'll kind of go through our presentation. Lindsay?
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining us again tonight. Like Maroon said, we are going to go through and tell you all what you all will need for when applying at Maroon at Midnight and what that process will look like for you. So it'll be a smooth process when you get ready to apply for our fall 2022 session or semester. Like she said, my name is Lindsay Stallings. I serve as our Assistant Director of Recruitment and Events. We're excited to get started and tell you guys all what's needed.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. As we are going through this presentation, please make sure that you're putting your questions in the chat. We will be answering those throughout our presentation. We got some great questions on the front end as well, and we'll make sure to go over all of those throughout our time together. So when applying to Mississippi State, what all is needed when you're submitting the application at midnight? We're going to be asking for general information. So your student's address, their name of their high school or their community college, their birth date, just very general information. So you will, your student will be submitting that information to us. It typically takes about 7 to 10 minutes to submit and fill out that application for admission. So it's not terribly long. Again, very general information that we're going to be asking. And then once your student has submitted that information to us, they will need to pay the $40 application fee, or if they have a fee waiver, they can upload that after they have submitted the application. So Lindsay, if you don't mind, maybe tell our audience about some other information they will need to submit after they submit the application.
Yeah, so like Maroon just talked about what exactly you'll need on the application process. And so this information that I'm going to talk about will be after you have submitted it. It can be once you have started your school in that fall semester. It does not have to be exactly that moment or that night when you're completing the application. As you can see here, the biggest things that you'll need to complete your application if you're going to be an incoming freshman student are going to be your 9th through 11th grade transcript. This can be sent from your counselor via email. You can upload it in your application portal. All of those methods are easy and also will get your application uploaded or updated as soon as possible. Outside of your transcript, we'll also need a copy of your test scores if you have ACT and SAT test scores. If you do not have test scores, that is fine. We can still evaluate your file without those. And as well, we'll need your application fee or fee waiver. All of those items that are listed, you can upload every single one of those to your application portal after you submitted your application. If you're going to be a transfer student coming to Mississippi State, we will just need your higher ed transcripts from any institutions that you have attended thus far, and as well as your application fee or fee waiver at that time. Like she mentioned, these are not going to be needed at the time of your application, so do not stress about making sure you have those at the time of completing it. Just will need those when you get ready to complete your file for admission purposes later on.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. We've had this question a couple of times, and as you were going through all the information that was needed in terms of having a complete file, one of the questions we've been getting pretty regularly is there an essay required with a part of the application? So, Lindsay, do you mind answering that question for our audience?
Thanks, Darren. Yes, if you do not have to have an essay for your application at Mississippi State University. Our general application does not have one on it at all. And then also, if you are completing either the Common App or Coalition application, you do not necessarily have to send us that information to complete your application at MSU. If you do send it, we do not require it for admission purposes.
Great. And just to follow up on what Lindsay said, it's not needed for the application for admission, but if you are interested in applying to the Shackles Honors College or do also start going through our scholarship application process, there could be an essay involved with those areas, but it's not needed for your student to submit their application for admission. All right, we've got a couple of more questions coming in, and kind of along those lines with scholarships, I'll let Lindsay take this one too. This is coming from Hayden Turner. It says, I have a two-part question. What is the process for applying for scholarships and what is needed to apply?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that for us tonight, Hayden. The process for applying for scholarships is you do have to be admitted to Mississippi State first. So that is going to be your first action item, making sure that you complete your application so that we can then review you and then get admitted to apply for scholarships. Once you have admitted, we will have a general scholarship application you'll be able to complete. General scholarship application normally will go live around October 1st. And so you'll get that information once it's live. And the general scholarship application is just our one university-wide scholarship application. You don't have to go to several different websites to complete or find different ways to apply for scholarships at MSU. You'll just complete this one scholarship application. And based on the answers that you do put into it and whether you have ACT scores and your GPA, we'll be then able to tell you what recommended scholarships you're able to apply for. So those may be some through your department, your academic major, maybe some of our prestigious scholarships. All of those will be your answers on the general scholarship application.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. We've had this question a couple of times too, so we'll go ahead and answer that. Asking about super scores. So yes, we do accept super scores for admission and for scholarship purposes. So you will want to make sure that you send us all of the tests that you've taken and all those sub-scores. When you are uploading your test score information into your application portal, please make sure that we can see the student's full name and we can see all the subsections, the scores that are listed there along with that composite score. We can then enter that information into your student's file. So we are accepting super scores for admission and scholarship purposes. As Lindsay was talking about earlier, we are not requiring test scores for admission, but for maximum consideration for scholarships, you will need to make sure you submit that ACT or SAT score. And as we've stated before, we do super score when looking at admissions and scholarship purposes. I think we also along those lines had a question about if your student has sent us their test scores already, do they need to resubmit those? And the answer is no. If you've already sent your test scores to Mississippi State, we will have those on file. We can match it to your student's application. But if you are continuing to take the ACT or SAT and want to send us those updated scores so we can calculate the super score, we would encourage you to do so. Okay, so the next question we've been getting kind of a good number of questions about this topic is the Honors College. So Lindsay, one of the questions we have is, when does the application open for the Shackles Honors College here at MSU?
Yeah, that's a great question. So about this Shackles Honors College process, that application will go live in September, that you'll be able to start to apply for our Shackles Honors College. We do accept super scores as well for the Shackles Honors College. So if you are sending us those test scores, know that they can be used for our Shackles College as well. And with that application, if at the beginning of the year until December 1st, for our students to have a 30 ACT score equivalent SAT and a 3.75 GPA, we do have an automatic invitation to our Shackles Honors College that you'll be able to receive. After December 1st, with that criteria, you still would have to complete the application. And also, if you don't have that criteria, don't let that also discourage you either from applying to the Shackles Honors College. It's a holistic review process as well. So they look at not only your test scores or GPA, but also the classes that you've been taking and application as a holistic review process.
Great. Yes, thanks, Lindsay. So this student says they're a junior in high school. They're going to be graduating June of 2022, and they are asking about submitting the application. When should they be submitting the application? And asking if that should be August 1st of 2022. No, that is not the case. So if you are looking to start at Mississippi State in August of 2022, the application for admission will be going live in less than 2 weeks. So right around the corner, I guess a little more than 2 weeks. So August 1st of 2021 is when you're actually applying for admission to start at Mississippi State in August of 2022. So it is a full year out and very exciting. I know for us in our office, it is a very exciting time when we see all those applications coming in. Okay, to follow up on that, we've got questions about when should a student know about their admissions decision. So Lindsay, would you like to take that one?
Yes, for sure. So when you are completing your application, like we talked about, making sure that we have all of those necessary items to complete your file, whether that's your transcript or your application fee and test scores. Once we have received all of that, you can expect your application decision via email that we will send to you. A decision's been made on your file within 7 to 10 business days. At the peak at the beginning, we also say maybe around 2 weeks. So at maximum around 2 weeks, your file has been completed. But that's the biggest thing, making sure that we do have all those necessary items. And you can always check your application portal as well at any point during that process to see if we have received script or your test scores and your application fees, just to make sure that we have all the items to be able to review your application for an admission decision.
Yes, great. Thank you, Lindsay. So also getting questions about submitting or applying for housing here at Mississippi State. So our application for admission goes live at midnight on August the 1st. If you're looking to start at Mississippi State in the summer or fall of 2022. And your housing priority is primarily based off of the date and timestamp of when you submit your application for admission. So when you log on to Mississippi State, apply for admission, you're given an invisible priority number through housing. So then once you submit your housing application, which would take place later on in the fall, then in the spring, there will be a time when you will do online room selection. And so your housing priority is primarily based off of the date that you submit your application to the university. When you're submitting your application to Mississippi State in terms of applying, you will not do anything with housing during that time. The housing process takes place at a later date is when you will submit the housing application, but that priority is primarily tied to the time that you apply to the university. There are some things that can change that priority in terms of living learning communities. So it is not the only factor, but it is the primary factor, that timestamp of when you submit your application for admission to the university. Got another question again. Do you choose your housing at the time of application, August 1st? I think we just answered that. No, you're not choosing your housing at that point. You will do that at a later time. So Lindsay, kind of a follow-up question about the Honors College. We've got one coming in that says, is it better to use the Common App or Coalition App or the Mississippi State application if you're applying to the Honors College?
Great question. So this is also a total personal opinion of which way you rather, whichever one that you want to apply to Mississippi State with, you can choose that, but just choose one. So if you are wanting to apply via our application, great. If you're wanting to apply through Common App, through Mississippi State or other schools at the same time, that's great, but just apply through one avenue to Mississippi State. So that way we can evaluate your file once we've gotten that. There's not one way that's better than the, especially when it comes into wanting to like the Shackles Honors College or for scholarship purposes or anything like that. We still evaluate your file just the same, regardless of however you apply to Mississippi State, whether that's our application, Common App, or Coalition. Hopefully that helps answer that question for yourself. But like I said, you can definitely just choose whichever one's the best method of you applying for schools.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. All right. So Hayden Turner has a follow-up question that says, where is the application portal? So right now you do not have an application portal because you have not submitted your application. But after you submit your application for admission, every time you're logging back in, that is where it will take you so you can see the items that are needed to complete your application. It's also where you will receive your admissions decision. It's where you will have next steps and dates and deadlines that will be upcoming and taking place. So no worries, you'll receive all that information, but there is no application portal right now because you've not submitted an application for the university. Okay, so following up on that, asking if a student has dual enrollment courses and they're a first-time freshman, do they need to send us their transcript through those dual enrollment courses?
No, they do not. So they do not have to send us those courses at the time of the application. Once you get ready to enroll at Mississippi State for the semester that you're planning to, so if let's say that's fall 2022, you just want to make sure that you send us that transcript from that institution that you took those dual credit classes through. So that way we can make sure to give you credit if they transfer Mississippi State. But at the time of application, you do not have to send us those transcripts or for your file to be evaluated for admission purposes either.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. So do we require letters of recommendation? For the application for admission to the university, we do not require letters of recommendation. We try to make the process very simple. We have a rolling admission process. So once you submit your transcript, your test scores, if you're a community college transfer student, just your transcript from the institution that you're attending, that application fee or fee waiver, we will then evaluate you for admission and send you an admissions decision. So we're not needing letters of recommendation for the application for admission. When we talk about the Shackles Honors College, or we're talking about maybe some things within our scholarships that we offer, our scholarship application, there could be letters of recommendation that are needed at that point, but none of that would take place until after you've been admitted to the university, and we obviously would notify you if there are additional information, if there's letters of recommendations or essays that we would need in terms of either of those processes. Okay, so are there any special requirements for applying to engineering? Lindsay, would you like to take that one?
Sure. There's not any requirements when applying to our Bagley College of Engineering at all. They evaluate you, or just like when you're completing the application, they evaluate you when you are doing that application itself. So you do not have to do a separate application even after admission purposes for the Bagley College of Engineering.
Great. So we have one student that's really excited about applying to Mississippi State, which you're really excited about, Joseph. Wonderful. And he said, is there a way to fill out the application before midnight, either with Common App or the MSU application ahead of time, and then just submit it at midnight? I like the way that you're thinking, Joseph, but unfortunately, the answer is no. The application for the 2022 term will not become available until midnight. So it will go live as soon as the clock strikes midnight, and that's when you will be able to submit that application. Do want to just let you all know in terms of Common App and Coalition, we will not be going live with the Common App nor the Coalition application until August the 5th. So there will be a little bit of a delay before those will become available for students to submit the application through Common App or Coalition. So it's totally up to you all how you would like to apply to Mississippi State. If you're wanting to stay up and submit that application at midnight, then you will need to use our application. Again, very simple, takes about 7 to 10 minutes to fill out. Sometimes students are a lot quicker. I would encourage you, for me personally, the information they're going to be asking, again, it's very general information, your address, the names of your guardian or family members. They're asking you about the high school or community college that you're attending, your birth date. Again, very simple information. To me, it is easier to submit the application if you're using a laptop versus doing it on your phone. You definitely can still do it on your phone, but just know in terms of scrolling up and scrolling down, maybe a little more complicated. I think it is a lot quicker if you do that on a laptop or a desktop. So may just want to prepare when you're thinking about that of having it available.
It looks like I noticed questions School of Architecture and their application process that have come in here tonight. And so do want to go ahead and answer that because like I just mentioned, for our Bagley College of Engineering, we don't require a separate application, but for our School of Architecture, we do have a separate application for their specific program. So that will be after the time of admission. So not at the time when you're completing the general application to the university. You will have to be admitted first before you complete the School of Architecture application. So just know that going forward, when you're going through the process of applying to Mississippi State, you don't have to worry about that at Maroon at midnight.
Great. And I'm going to go ahead and put our contact information up here because I know we're getting close to the end of our time. And so if we did not get to your question and you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Our office is open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We do also have some after hour nights that we do have extended hours here in the office where we can help assist you. But know we're here to help at any time for those of you that are on Facebook or maybe YouTube. And if you're not able to see the slides, our email address is admit at msstate.edu, and we'll be happy to help answer any questions that you might have. Got a lot of questions that are coming in about dual enrollment or about AP credit or just receiving college credit if a student is in high school. So if your student is in high school and they've received college credit in any way, shape, or form, one, congratulations to them. I know they've worked really hard, and them taking challenging courses is really great and going to set them up to be successful as a college student moving forward. We will not need that at time of admission to the university, but we will need that before your student is enrolling at MSU. So we will have to have a copy of a transcript from any institution that your student would be receiving college credit from. So a lot of the times we'll hear that the dual enrollment or any of that is listed in the high school transcript. We have to have it from the college that the institution is giving the credit from. So if I went to a high school and was taking dual enrollment through Jones County Junior College, JCJC, then I'd have to have my transcript sent from JCJC to Mississippi State prior to enrollment. If I am a community college student and I'm currently attending a community college and applying to Mississippi State, you will need to go ahead and send any of that dual enrollment work as well. We will have to have a transcript from any institution that you have attempted college coursework. So we do have to have that at point of admission if you are transferring into MSU, which means that you have graduated from your high school a couple of months ago and have attended somewhere else. So just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that from the transcript. Also, in terms of submitting transcripts, you had the question about, does it have to come directly from my high school or my community college, or can I upload it? You can upload that transcript in your application portal after you apply. You can also have it sent electronically to us. We will have to have an official copy from your high school or from your community college before you can enroll. So we will have to have that at some point. It will have to come directly from the institution. So we encourage you to go ahead and have that sent officially from them. But if you want to upload that, you're more than welcome to, and we can use that for the initial evaluation. All right. So looks like we've got some other questions that are coming in about scholarships, and we do plan to continue to do these events as the process of applying and then students getting admitted to Mississippi State and kind of the next step. So in terms of scholarships, October 1st is when the general scholarship application will open up, and that's when students can start submitting that general scholarship application where they can be considered for all of the scholarships that we offer here at the university. We will also be announcing in the upcoming weeks our automatic scholarships for students that will be entering in the fall of 2022. So no, that is upcoming as well. So I don't know, Lindsay, do you have any final pointers or final thoughts before we wrap it up tonight?
Yeah, well, I will just say that the application process, like we have talked about all night tonight, is very, very simple. So no need to stress about it at all. If anything, just to be excited about it. We would love to also see when you are applying to Mississippi State at Maroon at midnight, any kind of post that you all put on your Instagram, your Twitter, anything like that. Make sure to tag us. We love to see that and be able to share that as well with you while you're completing it, especially if you have a party of yourself and you and your other friends getting ready to apply to come to Mississippi State for the fall 2022 2022 semester. But yeah, we're really excited for you. And like I said, just don't stress about it. It's super simple process, takes 7 minutes. You could probably almost do it with your eyes closed as well. Very simple process when applying to Mississippi State. So
Great. Well, thank you all again. We've got our contact information listed here. I know on the other streaming devices, we've got some of our counselors in there to answer any questions, but our email again is admit@msstate.edu. If we didn't get to your question tonight, we'll be more than happy to follow up with you, make sure we get all those questions answered in the upcoming days. So thank you all again, and Hail State.